Hi, I'm Dave Wood with Petron Plus Lubes, and we are distributors for Petron Plus Global Lubricants. Today I'm going to demonstrate for you just one of their products, the oil supplement. Now this oil supplement is just what it says, it's a supplement. You add it to the oil in basically a 10-to-1 ratio. So you use your regular motor oil and just add to it to add some extra lubrication. Now why add lubrication? Well, if we can reduce friction and we can reduce wear on parts, we can increase the life of our machinery, automobile, truck, whatever, and we can also increase gas mileage and we can increase horsepower. So the whole point of it is to just reduce wear and get longer life on our equipment. So I have a Timken bearing machine, and we're going to be running metal to metal, 2 bearings, one on the machine and one in this test jig. So the very first thing we have to do in order to do this test is to calibrate the machine with no lubrication whatsoever. So I'm going to put the bearing on the bearing machine, and I have weights. Each one of these weights is just a little bit less than 1 pound. When I get all 24 weights, if I can get all 24 weights on, you'll have about 22.2 pounds, which exerts in excess of 150,000 psi on those bearing surfaces. So we turn the bearing machine on and we start adding weight to see where it will stop, and it stopped with 2 weights. So 2 weights is all it took to stop it with 0 lubrication. Take this off, we'll look at it close up and see what the bearing mark, the wear mark looks like. And you can see that it's a fairly substantial wear mark on that bearing just in, what was that running? Maybe 30 seconds or less with no lubrication. Okay. Now we're going to turn this bearing to a new spot, loosen up, turn the bearing a little bit, find a new location, and tighten down. And now we will add a crankcase. Just like your car or truck has a crankcase, going to add this to the machine, put some oil in it, and run the bearing in the crankcase. Oil. Circulate some oil on it. Put that up under there. Turn the machine on, and I'm going to add some full synthetic 10W30. It's purple, and they say purple is royalty, so we'll add some of this synthetic 10W30 oil until that bearing gets some oil running on it. And there we go. And you can see we have a nice amount of lubrication running on the bearing. And now we'll add the test bearing again. And we'll start adding weights and see just what that does for us, okay? So we know that 2 weights was with no lubrication whatsoever. So we should be able to get more. And we got just about 3, but at 3 it stopped. So with oil running on it, we only got up to 3 weights. And now we'll look at that wear mark with oil. Wipe this off a little bit. Put it here. And we'll look at it again. And now you can really see that the wear mark with oil is just slightly, just slightly less than it was with no oil whatsoever. So that's pretty interesting when you're running your car, your truck with oil and you think you're getting good lubrication. You may not really be getting good lubrication. So we'll take this again and we'll turn the bearing again to an unused area. And this time we're going to take this crankcase off, I have another crankcase here, a new one. We'll put this on. I'm going to add some more of the purple oil, but not enough to hit the bearing. And there, I've got some oil there. We'll turn it on. We're not really getting any on the bearing. And now I'm going to add some Petron to get it running on the bearing like we did before. Okay. And you can see now I have a nice lubrication on the bearing, and we'll do the same thing. We'll add the bearing test jig on here. Now remember, it took 2 weights with no lubrication whatsoever and almost made it to 3 weights with some lubrication. So if I can get at least 3 weights on there, I'm as good as the lubrication. So we'll go for 3 to start with. 1, 2, 3. So 3 weights was equal to what the oil did. And now we just need to see how many more weights we can get on there before we stall the motor out. Okay? If I can get 6 weights on, I've gone at least twice as good now. That's 6 weights. Okay? If I could add 3 more weights, I'm at 3 times the weight. There's 9 weights on there, 3 times as much. Let's try for 4, see what happens. 10, 11, 12 weights on there. Still running, no problem. You can even hear that the sound has not even changed very much. It's still a lot less than it was. The sound is a lot less than it was when there was no lubrication or just oil lubrication. So I got 12 weights on there. Let's see if we can go some more. 13, 14, 15 weights. That's 5 times as good as the oil. Okay. 15 weights, still running, no problem. 16, 17, 18 weights. 18 weights. Still running, no issues. 19, 20, 21 weights. Still running. We started out with 3 weights, would stall it with regular oil. That's 7 times as many weights on there now. And see if we can get all the weights on. 22, 23, and 24. And there's 24 weights on there, which is 8 times the amount of weight that we had, exerting more than 150,000 psi on that set of bearings. So you can see that just adding the supplement to your existing oil really improves the friction reduction. Obviously it reduces friction because the machine would be stopped if it wasn't. And I would also say that if we're reducing friction, we're reducing wear. So the next thing to look at then is we'll just stop the machine off and we'll check that wear mark to see what it looks like. So we'll take, and that bearing is hot, and this is heavy. So let's get that bearing off of there. And we'll wipe it off, and we'll check the wear mark. And it's pretty easy to see, because you can see the other wear mark just below that one, and this wear mark is at least half or less, maybe a third of the size of the other wear mark. And it's been running here under a lot of load for more than 30 seconds and a lot of pressure. And so you can see that the reduction in friction and the reduction in wear has substantially improved the performance. So just imagine if that was your car engine or your truck engine or any type of equipment that you have metal running in, which most machinery does have metal to metal running together. That's what Petron Plus can do. So I'll do another demonstration so you don't have to look and watch this one too long, showing some other factors with it. But until then, see you next time.